film that's out this week, so Escape from Pretoria, which you've probably come across. Daniel Radcliffe, who's been doing an awful lot of publicity for this. True life thriller, co-written and directed by France Sanan, based on a book, Inside Out, Escape from Pretoria Prison by Tim Jenkin. He was arrested in apartheid-era South Africa with Stephen Lee after being caught using sort of small sort of explosive devices to distribute anti-apartheid leaflets. The devices weren't dangerous, but the leaflets were considered to be, and it was sent to prison. Here's a clip.
The Republic of South Africa versus Timothy Jenkin and Stephen Lee.
My commendation to the prosecution. A very well put case. The retrieval of 17 custom-built devices for 26 separate bombings is no small thing. But laying out the most pernicious aspects of this ANC ideology, that all races are equal and all this sort of thing, has been the strongest part of your case. And if I'm to understand it correctly, one of the defendant's fathers is an eminent pharmacologist, and the other a scholar in the humanities.
So they are sent to prison for lengthy sentences, and in the prison, immediately when they get there, they meet up with other people who've already been in prison for some time, including Ian Hart as Dennis Goldberg. And our central character, Tim Jenkin, who's played by Daniel Radcliffe, and Daniel Webber plays Stephen Lee, immediately feels that there is a duty to try to escape. That's actually what they have to do is they have to confound the regime in any way at all. And the way they have to do this is by trying to escape. But clearly the prison is very, very high security, and escaping is not going to be very easy, except they devise this plan, which is making keys. Because they're everywhere they go, they're behind locked doors. Well, how do you get around the locked door? Well, you make a key. How do you make a key? You look at the keys hanging on the guard's belt, and you attempt to create facsimiles of those keys from any material that is available to you, other than the material that you'd use for making a key. There's one marvelous moment at which somebody says, "There's a reason keys are made out of metal." Now, firstly, it's a true story. And if it wasn't a true story, you just go, "I'm sorry, I'm not buying this at all." The second thing is, I have this theory about movies, which is that you can tell how good a movie is by how well it overcomes its flaws, okay? So at the beginning of the film, because it's a bunch of people doing some quite complicated accents, I thought, okay, this is a bunch of people doing some quite complicated accents, and occasionally it sounds a bit like an accent salad. And then about 20 minutes into the film, I realised that I had stopped caring about the fact that it was people doing accents. And I think the greatest endorsement of the film is to say that the things that are wrong with it didn't bother me, because it is imperfect. But it doesn't matter, because the things it gets right enough that you just forget about all the other things. And the thing that it gets right is the really intense tension of this plan to escape by doing something that seems so completely, I just think that can't possibly work. And we've seen many sort of prison breakout movies, and it's all to do with how much you invest, firstly, in the characters, and secondly, how much you invest in the particular situation they're in. And I know that when something is a true story, in fact, funnily enough, I heard an interview with Daniel Radcliffe in which he said that in the course of the movie, they had to make what they were doing even more complicated because, in fact, in real life, the solution that they came up with was one of them happened to be very, very good at looking and then drawing. So you believe in the characters, you believe in their situation, you forget about the things that are wrong and the things that are shonky, you forget about the accents, and you get completely swept up in the, frankly, quite nail-biting tension of what becomes a "I can't believe this is actually happening" prison break movie. I think that's genuinely a great endorsement. The film is stronger than any of its flaws, so they don't matter, and that, for me, is what defines a movie that's working, when you don't care about the things that are wrong with it.